What is it about this old Jag? Almost 40 years old, and it still makes us go all misty-eyed. Is it because we remember it as a getaway car, a police car, a racing car, or just Daddy's car? Other old motors just grow into quaint old curios, but this one's special. This one's mellowed into a blue-blooded national icon. There's more romance in this old Jag than in a Barbara Cartland novel. A tale of cads and spivs, suede shoes and tonic with plenty of gin. You see, we love this old glamour-puss because it reminds us of an age before political correctness, when it was okay to indulge in a bit of mild mischief. There were no speed limits and you could drive like a bounder and everybody just scuttled out of your way. Voguish, roguish, raffish, yet respectable, Jaguar pulled off the big one when they made the Mark II because they created the perfect product. The Mark II story begins with one man, Sir William Lyons. By the age of 21, he had his own business building Swallow motorcycle sidecars. But before long, he was giving shape to some of the most voluptuously styled cars in the world and establishing a design philosophy that was to stay with him all his life. Elegance that almost anybody could afford. By the end of the Second World War, Sir William had moved to Coventry, called his new car company Jaguar, and the rest, as they say, is history.
The Jaguar production success in the 50s had been built around two cars. The XK sports car, which was strictly a two-seater, very, very fast, good performance, and was great for the gadabout town, the sporting man, the man who wasn't married, didn't have kids. And of course you have the gargantuan Mark 7, Mark 8 saloons, built for the company chairman, the people who like to be chauffeur-driven, the people who have families who are well-to-do, old money if you like.
But in 1955, Sir William offered all things to all men with his new Jag Mark I. Quick, elegant and accommodating, it was the world's first compact sports saloon and the first Jag without a chassis. Soon, everybody who was anybody was piloting Britain's most glamorous motor. In a brilliant piece of product placement, Jaguar put race ace Mike Hawthorne in a modified 3.4. Instantly it became a celebrity car, but soon it hit the headlines for all the wrong reasons.
On the Guildford bypass he skidded, bumped a lorry, careered onto the verge, hit a tree. It was all over. At 29, world famous, he met death.
Hawthorne's death may have been a national tragedy, but it gave the Jag a dark halo of excitement, speed and danger. The Mark I had been immortalized. It was time for the Mark II. In 1959, Jaguar performed one of the most skillful facelifts in the history of the motor car. With a few gentle tweaks and tucks, they made the junior Jag even more stylish, rakish and desirable. Suddenly, the Mark II was one of the best-looking cars on the road. At the time, there was a saying that no matter which way you pointed a camera at the Mark II, it looked good from any angle. At a stroke, it rendered most other British saloons upright and dumpy. With tensed rear haunches, arched back roofline and a grille that looked like it could bite, the Mark II had a predatorial brutality.
The initial public reaction to the Mark II Jaguar range was one of delight at the car and surprise at the price. The 2.4 came in at about 1,500 and something, the 3.4 at 1,600 and something, and the 3.8 at 1,700 and something, which made them comparable with an upper specification in the Ford range. Despite the success of the Mark II series, it was apparent to Jaguar that there were still a lot of people who, whilst aspiring to own a Jaguar, assumed that they couldn't afford one. And it was because of this, in 1966, we launched a specific advertising campaign to tell people that the 2.4 was available at $1,341, and they could enjoy the Jaguar kind of motoring at that price.
The Jag started life very respectably, adored by the martini-mixing middle classes. The driveways of Surrey became known as the Jag Belt. Plush, moneyed and terribly glam, it was a monster hit. But who would have predicted that the Mark II's grace, space and pace would appeal to a completely different market? Before very long, the brave new Jag had fallen among thieves.
It's trying to lose us on these corners.
Bloody copper. Keep going. Keep going!
He's really throwing his car around these corners now. He's going absolutely mad now.
On screen and off, the Mark II had earned itself a reputation as a serious villain's motor.
The Mark II was perfect for us. It was the perfect Crim's car. It had grace, space and pace. We weren't particularly interested in the aesthetic of the grace, but certainly the pace was very important actually, and also the space, because we needed to have 4 people sitting in it, or if there were goods to be carried, it obviously had the room. We did have an alternative plan when we committed the great train robbery. We were going to use 10 Mark II Jaguars. This was ruled out mainly because we thought it would be highly suspicious, 10 Jaguars parked up in a little back lane. The major drawback with the Mark II, from our point of view, was the fact that they were too popular. If you were more than 2 up, you were liable to get stopped by the police as being suspicious. And you could also have your own stolen car stolen in turn again from you, and that actually did happen to me at one particular time. It was a supreme road car. The police never had anything to touch it. Once they'd got the Mark II, of course, then things were on equal footing. There was probably better drivers than we were, but of course they didn't have that will to survive. The whole of my criminal career was tied up with Mark II Jaguars, and subsequently, perhaps even ironically, I was taken in a police Jaguar to court to receive my sentence of 25 years.
In Manchester City Police area in the mid-60s, we had the Jaguar 3.8 Mark II. The criminals didn't. Anyone who was caught in a stolen car, which was of lesser performance than this, once the Jaguar got behind, more often than not, they stopped and gave up. The trouble with these was that the handbrake is on the right-hand side of the driver's seat. And when you turned up at an incident and put the handbrake on, as you got out, quite frequently you could kick the handbrake button and the handbrake would release. And you felt a bit foolish if your car suddenly started rolling away in front of the public. Can't even set his handbrake proper. Today, this car would be no good as a traffic car. It would be far outperformed by virtually everything. It's ponderous, it's relatively slow, but in its time, there was nothing to beat this car.
Back in the 60s, the 3.8 model was a wild car. The legendary straight-six twin-cam XK engine could push out 220 horses. And if you depress the big accelerator to the floorboards, it could max at 130 miles an hour. And many did, because it was hard to resist that big bonnet rising and watching the needles on the white-on-black gauges soar. For a moment, you were king of the road.